this song is called Homage to Brahms. It says, point 0 text. The origin and concept of this piece came from my interest in analyzing the Brahms Rhapsody for piano, Opus 79. The element that I really wanted to understand was actually the rhythm. There's some displacement of where the loud parts are in terms of whether they're on the downbeat or offbeat. I really wanted to understand how that rhythmic language was constructed. It seemed to be very absent from Western music theory, which tends to focus on harmony. To make a long story short, I never really was able to answer that question. Point 1, analysis notes. I found a professor or assistant professor who was willing to lead me in an independent study of this work. The actual analysis that I did was an attempt to understand how the piece was put together, with a theory that there was something about the intervals within the melody would apply to the broader sections of the piece in terms of the key centers. So here I do have some notes, my combination motivic and harmonic analysis of the piece. So this page is kind of my summary. Then these 4 pages are my harmonic analysis of the piece. Point 2, paper. In terms of the independent study, I did the analysis on the first of the 2 rhapsodies. I won't show you the whole paper. I will, however, read you the notes that I got from Evan Ziphorn. So I got an A, but I still have some doubts about the clarity with which you made your point. In many cases, I only know what you mean because we've discussed it. Still, it's a good analysis in every sense. It's based on what is heard, and it makes a case for this hearing. Writing about music is fiendishly difficult, so I consider this finished. Still, for your own purposes, you'll probably want to clean this up so that you can look back on it in a few years and still feel good about it. How my piece relates to the Brahms piece. He starts by attempting to answer the questions raised in his critique of my paper. So you have to understand, I was studying science. I was at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and there you have to prove things. So what I thought was, if my analysis was valid, I ought to be able to take different seed material, then apply this formula, and then calculate out the rest of the piece. And then if that piece made sense or worked in a similar enough way, then I would have felt my analysis to be valid. The techniques can be applied more generally. So in order to make my piece fundamentally different, I needed to pick thematic material that had very different characteristics. So the Brahms piece is in 4/4, I decided to write in 3/4. The Brahms piece starts out with a descending phrase, I decided to start with an ascending phrase. Effectively, I translated Brahms's phrases into somewhat complementary, but also somewhat orthogonal to Brahms's. So after arriving at the structure of the piece based on the chosen themes and application of the formula, I then proceeded to orchestrate it for chamber orchestra. This was another project under the student-led group, the Tech Random Music Ensemble, and it was subsequently performed at a chamber concert at the Pierre Monteux School for Conductors and Orchestra Musicians. Here we have the program notes from the concert. I view Homage and the Rhapsody as the same piece of music, both structurally and emotionally. Yet the differences in instrumentation and harmonic language lead to radically different musical experiences for the listener. This piece is probably the closest to what you might call an Aaron Copland feel. There's a lot of very openness to it, very strident, and has some jazzy elements. Three, conductor score. small changes were made to the parts between the first and second version, which were not reflected in the original score. And 4 original parts. I did these parts in finale, only the notes and some slurs. All articulations and dynamics were done by hand. As well, there were edits made that were done through copying and pasting, which include performance notes, flute. This part doubles oboe and English horn. Clarinet in B flat, 2 and 3. Bassoon. Trumpet in B flat. We're going to go with this. Trombone. It wasn't until the second production of this work that I added it to Violin 1. Violin 2. Viola. Cello, bass, please let me know if you'd like to help me get the score for this happening. And in the meantime, we got the subscribe button. Thank you so much.